All right, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us here today. My name is Morgan Heitzma with Scott Leroy Marketing, and today we're going to be going over Docusign 101. If you have any questions at all throughout the training here today, please feel free to use the chat box down below. I'm going to go ahead and use that chat box right now. If I do not get to all of the questions here today, which I'll do my best to answer, please feel free to reach out to us at support@scottleroymarketing.com. That should allow us to be able to kind of answer any additional questions that you may have. So I'm going to put that email in the chat box down below for you. Feel free to use that, save it. And as we are navigating here today, we're primarily going to be inside of the KW command platform, but we're going to also dive into a little bit of the Docusign side as well. So again, Docusign is primarily set up for just getting started and connecting our Docusign account. So we'll also have a Docusign 201 class where it'll go over a little bit more tools and resources for you inside of Docusign to kind of help maximize the connection that you have with Docusign in your KW command. So as we are getting started here, I did make my way to agent.kw.com, which is our KW command platform. If this is your first time signing in, this is generally going to take the first letter of your first name followed by your last name here. If it's a pretty common combination like John Smith, you may have a number associated at the end here. Now, for today's demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and use Scott's login here. So we'll go ahead and sign in underneath Scott's sign in. And we do typically say that the Google Chrome browser and the Firefox browser are going to be the best two web browsers to utilize within the KW platforms. Again, a reason for this is we've seen Safari, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer sometimes not give us the pop-ups that we need to finalize a connection, or it gives us kind of a forever spinning wheel on a certain page, things like that. So we typically like to say that the Google Chrome browser and the Firefox browser are going to be the best browsers to use. So as we are navigating this, I am inside of the Google Chrome browser. We did enter our KW command platform here, and this is typically our KW command homepage, where the left-hand side you have your navigational icons. The right-hand side is going to be kind of like your tools and resources on the top right here. Now, before we actually jump into our opportunities and our Docusign, we're going to want to make sure that we have everything kind of successfully connected and set up. So when we do go to utilize these resources here, that they're already successfully connected and we don't really have to troubleshoot or work on getting them connected. So it's best to kind of set this up first. We can do so by clicking on our name on the top right-hand corner here and navigating over to our settings page. So it should typically be the third from the bottom here, and it should kind of have a gear icon. We'll go ahead and give that a click here. And it should bring us over to this settings page. Now, typically when we jump into, like, say, our phone settings or any other typical settings page, you may have some like robust settings, and you'll find those in this skinny little section right here in the form of drop downs. So if you're looking for actual settings for your KW command, they'll be right here for you. But what we actually have on the right-hand side are going to be outside platforms that we can connect with our KW command to kind of pull those tools and resources in. So as we see right here on the right-hand side, we have, say, Facebook, Instagram, Dotloop, Twitter, Keller Covered. We have a number of different resources right here that we can connect if we're already currently utilizing them. So, again, feel free to go ahead and connect any of these that you'd like to. There's going to be one connection here that's going to be a little bit different than the rest of them, and that's going to be our Docusign. Within our KW command settings page right here, our Docusign section right here, this is actually how we initiate our KW branded DocuSign account. So it's kind of a little tricky. You cannot, unfortunately, use outside DocuSign account. So if you have a premium DocuSign account or a free version, say from years ago, unfortunately that will be incompatible with the KW command connection because this actually takes a specific account, which is that KW branded DocuSign account. So this is how we get that first set up. So we can go ahead. You see that I already am connected right here. So for today's demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect this. You can do so by clicking that disconnect button. But you should typically find your DocuSign within your digital signature and transactions section right here. So again, if you're not finding it up at the top here, these are typically the applications that are already connected to your KW command, and then it divides into different kind of categories: productivity, social, digital signature, and transactions. Now, again, this is where you typically first find your DocuSign setup right here. If you've never set this up before, and if you're brand new, it will look something similar to this. It'll have a blue connect button, and then it'll be the first thing up at the top right here. So if we click on the connect account, it should give us a pop-up here. And within this pop-up right here, you should see your first name, last name, and email. Now, if we take a look here and we think about how a registration works, you'll see that you have... sorry, I'm reading the comments over here, you guys. If you're not seeing your DocuSign account set up, again, try to see if you have a scrollable view, if you have something similar to this down here. And again, it will also depend on your market center as well. So if you're not seeing your DocuSign, please confirm that your market center is indeed using DocuSign. If they are and you're still not seeing that DocuSign setup section within your settings here, please reach out to us. We should be able to kind of help troubleshoot, jump in and see what may be going on, okay? Again, that's that email, support@scottleroymarketing.com. Just shoot an email over there really quick, and we should be able to kind of help see where that may be at for you. But as we're taking a look over here, if I click on that connect account right here, you have your first name, last name, and email, but we don't have a section for a password. That will actually come in the form of the next, say, part 2 setup of your DocuSign, and that's going to be your password as well as your security questions. So if we take a look at this right here, we're actually sending a registration email from DocuSign over to our preferred email address right here. Again, this email must not be associated with any other DocuSign account that's currently active. Otherwise, it's going to give us this ugly red error right down below saying that it's already being utilized. So, and a part 2 to that is, unfortunately, if you, say, are working with a team or a group, each team member will be able to sign up and connect their very own DocuSign account. You will unfortunately not be able to, say, use a blanket DocuSign account through an entire team. Again, it will give you that ugly red error message saying that there's already a connection within that specific account. All right, so as you see right here, we have Scott's first name, last name, the email that we want to set up for that DocuSign connection. Again, we can send that registration over, but we also have a secondary option right here saying, do we have an account already? If so, we can log in here. And seeing as how I disconnected that right when we started this setup section right here, I can go ahead and log in, and I can use my own login here. Go. And then once I click sign in that registration, there should be a pop-up right here asking me to finish that connection right here. Now, this pop-up is very important because this is what actually allows for your Docusign to read your KW command and vice versa. So if you do not see this pop-up here for this password, chances are you may be using an incompatible web browser. So again, that Google Chrome will hit sign in right here, and it should load up and then finalize that connection. As you see right here, it says Docusign is now ready and can be found within our opportunities. So it's pretty easy to get that connection set up. This is that first sort of connection that you need in order to proceed forward with that Docusign KW command connection. Okay, so again, we all do it through the settings. We do it all through the settings and not through Docusign.com. Now, the second part to that is actually jumping into Docusign or seeing where Docusign is, how to utilize it within the KW command platform. And it kind of told us right up there at that pop-up once we finalize that connection that, again, it can be found inside of the opportunities. So let's go ahead and make our way over to our opportunities here. So we'll click on our red KW square on the top left-hand corner. Then we can go ahead and make our way to our opportunities. Now, please keep in mind that in order to create an opportunity, you must first have a contact inside of your KW command database. So again, we do kind of cover this over the opportunities class. But again, just keep in mind that first comes the contact, then comes the opportunity. So if I go over here and take a look at our opportunities, I'll go ahead and click on Create Opportunity on the top right-hand corner. We'll create a brand new opportunity here. We'll create underneath Scott Leroy and our client here. So who is going to be that client for us? So I'll go ahead and I'll use myself as an example as a client. And again, is this going to be a listing or a buyer? Again, for this example, it doesn't quite matter too much for us, but we'll do buyer here. And as we scroll down here, I believe there's going to be a commission rate, opportunity, stage, and phase that we need to fill out here. So we'll go ahead and fill these out, and we'll leave that in the first cultivate. And I'm going to label this Docusign 101. Just to kind of help us identify that opportunity a little bit easier when we jump into that section there. So as you see, we have that Docusign 101. It opens us up into that opportunity card. And within this opportunity card, we have details, buyer, documents, offers and commissions, notes, and timeline. We're going to travel over here to the documents section. Give that a click. And this is where we go to submit our documents to our market center. This is also where we go to pull in documents from our Docusign. So I'm going to show us a couple different ways on how to do this. First and foremost, it's going to be identifying your checklist type on the left-hand side. So we can do this right over here on this small little square. We can click on pick checklist type right here. And is this going to be a residential or a commercial property? So I'm going to choose residential here. And this should pull in all of the residential forms that I need to submit to my market center to be approved. We'll give this a second here. And as this is taking a moment to load, I'm just going to go ahead and click on that refresh button really quick. See if that helps pull in that information a little bit more. And it did. Perfect. So as you see right here, we have our residential was pulled in. Within our residential, we have consultation, under contract, as well as closed. These are the three different sections to kind of identify where you're at in the transaction. As you see, we have nothing really underneath that consultation. But once we click on under contract right here, you'll start to see a list populate. Now you can drag and drop these from your computer, but what we want to do is we kind of actually want to drag and drop them from our Docusign, because here we'll have the opportunity to kind of work on our documents inside of Docusign, get them sent out for signatures, have them look all nice and ready to be submitted, and then just upload them here. So taking a look over here, in order to have our Docusign successfully connected to our opportunity, we will need to see this Start a Transaction button on the top right here. This Start a Transaction button will be that indicator that we've successfully connected our Docusign within our settings here. So again, this will be how you know that you have successfully connected your Docusign. If we click on Start a Transaction, it will give us a pop-up here to jump into our opportunities. And once we jump into our opportunities, this dark gray button will say Go to Transaction. So it'll move from Start a Transaction and it'll change to Go to Transaction. It also changed the color of this button as well, with a white button and blue text. This is a great indication to kind of let you know if you have Docusign Rooms connected to opportunities. So if you're working on a number of different opportunities today and you're wondering which opportunities have Docusign Rooms already connected and which ones don't, you can easily flip through and just view this button right here to see if they have those connected. I can click on Start a Transaction right here. We'll wait for that pop up. It popped up that new tab right here. And it should bring us into our Docusign room. And again, just for that quick view, we can quickly identify that this opportunity is connected to a Docusign room. It even has like a little link icon right here, letting you know that it is linked together. So jumping in here, we'll take a look at our Docusign Rooms. Now, again, please keep in mind, it depends on how long it's been since you've signed into Docusign. It may, when you click on Go to Transaction, it may give you a pop-up to sign in using your login and password. It all depends. Since we connected it very quickly within our settings right here, relatively in a relatively soon, how do you say that? It's only been a few minutes since we've connected our Docusign account within our settings. So it kind of remembered that login information for us and didn't need us to sign in again. So as we're taking a look over here, we get jumped into our Docusign room, and this is where it'll typically land you here within the Documents section. Now, how we take a look at these Docusign rooms right here is, first and foremost, on the top right-hand corner right here, you should see a KW branded logo. This lets you know that you are in the correct location. This also lets you know that you're using the KW account. So next, what we want to take a look at is on the left-hand side, you'll have your Docusign 101 as well as your ID and date created. This is actually drawn off of whatever you selected right here for your opportunity. So again, it's a great identifier of knowing which opportunity you're inside of and that you're working on, because it should show you right up top here. Now, you also have a couple other sections as well that are pretty important. You'll have this menu bar right here, which is your details, documents, people, envelope, messages, and history. So if you're used to creating opportunities, you'll see the details, buyer, document, commission, notes, and timeline. That's the opportunities kind of menu options, right? This is going to be your Docusign Rooms menu options right here. As we take a look inside of our documents, we can start to upload documents here and fill out different initials and signatures and timestamps that we want to send off to get signed. We do so by clicking on this blue add button on the top right hand corner. We'll give that a click, And here you'll see a number of different locations that we can pull our forms in. So we can pull our forms in from our computer, from our Docusign forms, zip forms, and then you have some of your cloud storage options as well. We're going to click on Docusign Forms right here, and this should be where all your pre-generated Market Center forms as well as your board forms should be located. Now, as we take a look right here and we scroll through here, you'll see all these forms. If I like a form, I can give it a click on the checkbox and then click on Add Selected. That should pull that form into my Docusign room for me to be able to fill it out and send off to get signatures. But as we take a look over here and we click on Details, any kind of information that you pull in from your opportunities detail, like the owner is Scott Leroy, so Scott Leroy is the buyer agent. Morgan Heitzma is the buyer. So it kind of pulls in this information from your opportunity here into your details of your Docusign room right here. So it pulled that opportunity name to Docusign 101. It knows which side of the transaction it is, since we chose buyer side. It also shows the market center that we've created this opportunity for. As we scroll down a little bit more, you have options to edit any kind of additional information that you'd like. And when you edit this additional information right here, it should end up pre-populating onto these forms that you're pulling in from your market center and your board. As long as they are the interactive forms and not like a standard PDF, you should be able to kind of, it should auto-populate this information for you. Now, as you see on the right-hand side, this skinny section, we have our sellers, our buyer's agent, our listing agent, all that information right here on the right-hand side. So if I scroll down a little bit more, you'll see buyer 1. You'll have that Morgan Heitzma information, my email, all of this pre-populate right here from that opportunity that we've entered. So again, pretty cool to kind of see that information. Here's Scott Leroy's, as he is the buyer's agent, and there's more information on that, on you as the agent. It should pull in that information. So as we're taking a look over here, I'm going to click back onto this document section. Oh, sorry. How to edit all this stuff right here is going to be this blue edit pencil right here. So if I give that a click, it actually opens up all these different sections for me to be able to fill out. Once you're done editing, you can hit save right here on the bottom right, and then that should update that information for you. Now, taking a look over here, we're going to click on Documents one more time. And clicking on Documents, we're also going to click on this form that we pulled in right here. Now, taking a look at this form that we've pulled in, this is actually going to be an interactive form. You can tell by that blue title right there. And again, you can tell that it pre-pulled that information in for me. So again, we can kind of see that those interactive forms or those smart forms, I believe they actually call them power forms, work right here in real time. So the buyer's Morgan Heitzma, perfect. And I can go in here and I can type out any other additional information. Hit save and close right here. And once you're happy with this, with the way this document looks, we can go ahead and click on this checkbox right here. And what it does is it opens up kind of like an actions toolbox right here for us. So again, I'll uncheck and recheck that so we can kind of see that pop up in real time. So there's unchecked and there's checked right there. Again, you have a number of different options, right? If you want to delete a form, if you want to archive it, if you want to download it, what we're actually going to be looking for is going to be this create envelope button right here. Again, you can select as many different forms as you'd like. Here, let me pull in one other form. I'm going to pull in a second form, and I'm only going to select one. And then I'm going to click on create envelope right here. Docusign did a new update here where if it's been a while since you jumped inside Docusign, you may see this new pop-up, which is a buyer 1, buyer 2. Again, they're just trying to kind of eliminate an extra step for you right here during this pop-up by selecting who we're sending this envelope to. So since that form had a buyer 1 and buyer 2 inside of it, you'll see that buyer 1, buyer 2 option pop up. We can go ahead and select any or all of these. We can also select none and just continue onward. Now again, if we select none right here, we'll just have to manually enter who we're sending these contacts, who we're sending these envelopes out to, which again is no big deal. Selecting roles for your participants save you time by auto-placing recipient fields and data in your documents. So we'll just click on continue right here. And as this loads up through here, the first step is going to be who are we sending this document out to? The second step, so page 2, when we hit next right here, that's going to be applying the actions or the signatures, the date stamps, those sort of things on the next page. So on this page right here, you see that we've pulled in that one document. If you wanted to add additional documents, we can do so here on this checkbox right here. We have this drop down where we can use a room document, we can use a template if we have one, or we can just browse and upload from our computer. I'm actually going to use that second document that we pulled into our Docusign room. So I'm going to select add rooms documents. And that should give me that 2 options right here. So I'm going to give that second one a click. I'll add selected right here. And as you see right here, it pulls in that second document right here. Again, you can do so. You can add as many other documents as you'd like. You can browse from your computer. You can use a template. So again, it all depends on what it is that you're trying to send out and get signatures for. As we scroll down here, you'll see that you have a buyer 1, buyer 2, seller 1, seller 2 right here. As we go and start to apply signatures and initials and things onto these documents, each individual is going to be identified by a specific color. So as you can see right here, you can kind of start to tell which individuals are going to have a specific color right here. Right next to these colors, you'll see 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the signing orders of who's going to receive these documents first to sign, and then after the first signer, it's going to go over to the second signer, and then third, and then fourth. Again, if you're wondering why the rest of your signers may not have received the document yet, they still may be waiting for the first signer right here. You can rearrange these as well. So again, as we're taking a look over here and moving these over, you will see that the signing order does sometimes adjust and sometimes does not. So just please be mindful of if that is going to adjust accordingly for you. So if it doesn't, just feel free to go ahead and adjust these. So I'll go ahead and I'll type 2 right here. I'll go ahead and type 3 right here. And then 4. Since these have been a relatively new update, they may update this here to start reflecting a little bit more accurately as time goes on. Now, for this demonstration, I don't necessarily need all 4 signers, so I'm going to delete a couple of these here. So I'm going to click on this trash can. There we go. So we have a buyer 1 and a seller 1 right here. So as we take a look over here, I can go ahead and enter a name. One of the cool things about this new Docusign update is it starts to auto pull information as you are typing out. So instead of typing out the full first and last name and then the full email right here, it'll first search through your Docusign Rooms for any additional information, like it does mine right here. But as I start typing in, say, Scott, it'll pre-pull all of the different information that that my Docusign account has. So again, I can go over here and I can go scott@scottleroymarketing.com. Once I click on that individual, it pulls in the name and the email for me. So I don't have to spend time sitting here typing in the name every time and the email every time. So now, for example, I can just click on Morgan Heitzma right here, and you'll see that my name and my email just pull in automatically. Again, if I wanted to be the first signer, I can adjust this accordingly. And then again, I'll adjust this right here to being the first and the second signer. On the right-hand side, you have needs to sign. We can adjust this depending on what this individual needs to do with the document. So if this individual needs to sign, that's perfectly fine. We can leave it the way it is right here. But if they need to just receive a copy, if they need to just view it, any of these type of options are going to be available for you to select for each individual client. So I think this is going to be fine for now. I'd kind of like to show two different signers right here. You do have one last little thing, which is our customize option for small additional little options right here. So we have add an access code or add a private message. Again, kind of rarely used, but again, it's there at your disposal for you. As we scroll down here a little bit further, our last option right here is going to be our email subject and our email message. When we send this document out to get signed, our clients are going to receive an email from Docusign.com saying, please sign here, or please Docusign, right? This is what the subject line is going to read for your client. And then again, if you want to add any additional messages, signing must be due by the end of the week, right? Or please let us know if you have any additional questions. We're happy to help. So any kind of message that you'd like to add when your client receives this Docusign email, you can do so here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. I'll just say, please Docusign. You do have this frequency of reminders right here. It is grayed out, but this may be a new addition as well to be able to kind of incorporate that. Now everything looks pretty good for the time being right here. And when we're done right here on the bottom right, we have a send now or a next. So we can just automatically send these documents out. My suggestion to you would be clicking the next button. But you have this small little arrow as well, which is like send later, which is a save as a draft, right? So I'm going to click the next button right here. And here's how we go to add these signatures, initials, things like that we want our clients to fill out. So as you see right here, we have our seller Bob, our buyer Morgan. As we scroll down right here, you have two buyer signatures. So as we go ahead and take a look, our left-hand side is going to be all the different tools that we have, and the right-hand side are going to be all of the editable options that we have for those tools. So for example, if I were to say, click on signature and drag one over, the right-hand side populates all the different tools that I can apply to the signature option right here. So one of which is going to be pretty important, your required field. Is this option going to be required or optional? So if it's optional, it'll be kind of grayed out. If it's required, it'll be filled in. If you're looking to change the signature, who needs to sign here and who needs to sign here, we can do so by toggling the drop down on the top left-hand corner. And this should allow us to view all of the different participants who are engaging in signing this document here. So for example, if I wanted to click on Morgan, all of my initials or my tools are going to turn blue for me to be able to kind of easily identify who is signing where. Again, is this going to be a required field or is this going to be an optional sign? Now, you also have some other options as well, one of which is going to be a date signed. We can go ahead and we can drag this over. And again, full disclosure, oops, let me drag this down to the correct bar right here. And then again, if I right click, I can copy and I can right click over here and I can either paste or paste to location. If you paste to location, it'll paste wherever your cursor was at that point in time. Now, as you see, I did get 2 over here. If I wanted to adjust this to be Scott as the date signed, I can right click that as well. Oops. I can just, sorry, first click it. And then on the right hand side, you have your recipient. And right here, we can go ahead and adjust depending on who we want to be the date signed or the signature. So again, left-hand side tools, right-hand side are editable options. So I can toggle this over to be signer 1. I can toggle this over to be signer 2, and so on. So let's go ahead and let's reverse this because I did kind of jumble this up. We can undo our options up at the top here. You should see a little undo button. And if we give this a click a few times, this should kind of undo a few different options that we have. Now, notice that it moved objects, but it didn't quite change too much the different the signers here. So again, keep that in mind when adjusting the different tools and options that sometimes playing around too much with these may result in an error file. But once you have this error code right here, you saw that it was very easy for me to be able to kind of readjust back. So hopefully none of that will scare you if you do see any of those errors pop up, or if your undo is just a little unsure. But as we are taking a look over here, there's going to be a couple other options that I want to show us, and these are going to be the checkbox and the drop down and these radio buttons right here. So first and foremost, this drop down I think is a pretty cool option. When you select this drop down and drag it over, how you create drop down items is going to be on the right hand side here. We're actually going to select add option right here. So we have our list view. We're going to add our option. And I'm just going to choose option 1. I'm going to add option 2. And I'm going to add option 3 right here. Now once we take a look at this, I can click on it. I can give this a double click and it'll give me a real-time representation of what these signers are going to see. And I can go ahead and I can select 1, 2, or 3 right here. Now, if you want there to be a standard option, we can go ahead and select default option right here. And we want our default to kind of always be a 1 right here. But if they want to adjust it, they can do so accordingly by adjusting it to 2 or 3. So there's going to be a couple other options as well here for you. That radio button, we can go ahead and drag this radio over. Again, please note radio options, they will have that required or an optional here for you. So I don't know why I dragged out 2. But as you see, if you do not want them to click on this every single time, you will need it to be an optional field right here for them to be able to kind of click on that checkbox or unclick. But if it's required, then they can't go forward unless they click on it. So let's see what else here. Checkbox. Checkbox is going to be very similar as well. So again, you'll have that check on, check off. This does not give you that option for that for that required or conditionally required. Now, I did kind of make a mess of my document here, so I'm just going to kind of remove a couple things. You can do so by giving that a click, and I'm just going to hit the backspace on my keyboard, backspace on my keyboard, and backspace one more time. Here we go. And again, this looks pretty good for now. If I want my clients to add any additional information, you can, of course, click these checkboxes, and you can adjust these checkboxes depending on where your description location is housed. So again, required or conditionally required. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave this conditionally required right here. I'm actually going to drag this down where it kind of looks like a pros and cons right here. So I can actually write that. I'll write pros and cons, and they'll have an optional section to add any information right here. I'm going to click send, but again, I just want to double check everything. So I believe Scott may be the first signer. I'm going to be the second signer right here. We can also, before we send out, we can click on our actions on the top right-hand corner here, and we can save and close as a draft. We can discard it completely. We can edit any kind of message, recipients, or documents right here, as well as some advanced options. And again, you may see this pop up right here. You may see some other kind of error pop up within Docusign. If it's preventing you from accomplishing your task, please reach out to us. If it's not preventing you from accomplishing your task, right? Try to proceed forward and see if it's just like, say, a back-end glitch within Docusign that's kind of shouting out errors every once in a while. But again, if it's not letting you proceed forward, please reach out to us. We should be able to kind of at least help troubleshoot a little bit further for you. I'm going to click on preview right here on the top right-hand corner. Again, it gives me that error file, but you see everything's proceeding forward normally. So I'm just going to ignore this error right here. It'll show me all these different things that I have added. You will see within your date stamp, and I've gotten this question before, your date stamp is pre-populated based off of your time zone, date as well as time. Now, keep in mind that that unfortunately we're unable to kind of edit this down to be a little bit smaller. So just kind of adjust it accordingly depending on where your document is. And again, this preview section right here is going to be a great example for you to know if it's cut off at any specific spot. You'll also be able to view based off of a tablet or a mobile view. And again, you'll be able to toggle between, I want to see what it looks like when Morgan signs this, and I want to see what this looks like when Scott signs this. So you have both of these options right here. Now, I'm going to click on this X on the top right-hand corner here. And again, I can go ahead and send this out. However, this will send over here to Scott. As well as myself, so I may just save this as a draft right here. We'll hit save and close. And again, just ignoring that error there, we can see our envelopes are going to be populated within the envelope section within our menu here. So again, documents right here is where we were to begin with, and then you'll have your envelopes right here. If you have sent an envelope out already, and a document needs to be adjusted or any kind of information needs to be changed, you can click on this Docusign envelope right here, and there should be a correct button right here for you. As we did not send this out, it does not show us that option, but I am wondering if maybe if we remove Scott, if I may be able to kind of send this out. Perfect. Yep, we'll send this out, and then we'll hit send right here. It'll say your envelope has successfully been sent. and then it'll look like this right here. So instead of saying draft, it'll say please DocuSign. It says needs my signature. Well, it knows that it's me that's signed in right here. And again, as we are going through here, you can go ahead and give this a click, and you should be able to correct in real time that information. However, I do know that we do have DocuSign 201 coming up, which is really more of exploring adding contacts, adding your NRDS, adding your board forms, adding your DocuSign details a little bit more, as well as some other templates and things like that. So I'm gonna pause it off where it is right now. I am going to answer some questions at the very end here. So for those of you who are watching this recording, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us here today. Again, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to support@scottleroymarketing.com. We'd love to help answer any questions that you may have. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.